of the things I didn't really talk about, she kind of mentioned the training with, the weight training. I do a circuit I have a Bowflex. I have a gym membership. I don't ever go to the gym. I have a treadmill at my house. I have a Bowflex at my house. It all, minimizes my amount of time that I have to travel somewhere. If I can minimize how far I have to travel, the more likely it is I have to do it. If I, have to go drive, my training buddy lives in the Woodlands, and so we alternate back and forth. But this summer, because it was like 100 degrees, we trained on Friday night, so it was our socialization, and that's one of the time management things I think is good, about our sport. And running is I did a lot of runs that were 4, 5, 6, 8 hours. That's a lot of time. So it's hard to take time out of your day and say, how am I going to do this? Well, if you view it as a socialization, you get to spend time with your, family or friends, depending on what you want to do with it. You could get your kids involved if you have kids and they want, put them on a bike, put them on rollerblades. It's a good way to kind of, I dated a guy for a year that his daughter used to go rollerblade with us, and we'd go on runs, and it was our, date on Friday night. I know it sounds really exciting, but it was cheap, and we stayed out of trouble that way, I guess. So I have a Bowflex machine, back to that, in which I do a lot of, I have a set circuit where I do upper body, lower body, and a lot of core. A lot of people don't emphasize their core strengthening enough. We're going to talk about that a little bit here shortly. I can do a weight workout in 25 minutes. I can address every muscle group in my body in 25 minutes, which is important because you can go to the gym and you can, spend an hour and not get anything done. And so, I really work on, nonstop doing, alternating muscle groups to where, I'm not fatiguing one group, but I don't stop. So then you get a benefit of you're adding in your aerobic capacity too into your circuit training, and you're not just, sitting there twiddling your thumbs waiting to do your second rep. So, I'll do, one set and then change muscle group and then, come back and, do repetitive like that. I have a core exercise that works my legs, my arms, back, abs, all at the same time. It takes me 2 sets a minute each, and I could settle with that and get, do that 2 minutes in a week, and I could potentially do that. And so finding things that work like that is kind of the importance of this talk. So I'm going to talk about the stuff here on the left, and then Morgan's going to talk about the stuff on the right. And if you're this guy, then you're in really bad shape. Okay, so this is me right before my 100-miler. I was just hanging out on my roller. This, for all of you that don't know, this is a foam roller. They come in different densities. The white ones are softer. They tend to wear out faster, and they tend to not do as good a job, and they tend to not hurt as bad. So most people like to get the white one because it doesn't hurt. This one is, I got it at betterperformance.com. I think they all run about the same price. I got it on the internet. And it's very hard. It's not very comfortable. So although it looks like I'm having fun, I probably wasn't too bad because this was like my 4th or 5th time rolling in a week. You really should, if you're going to do a lot of training, invest in a roller and learn how to use it properly and use it on a regular basis. Honestly, I'm kind of bad about it. I use it only before my big races, and I make sure I use it extensively. I have a guy that does active release on me and does massage on a weekly basis. I can afford it, and it works, and it gets done faster and less painful than this, but this is probably better. The foam roller, it works on trigger points, so I'm essentially, I kind of start here and I roll down, and it works on releasing any tight muscles. So, there's theories on stretching. Stretching is an active way to stretch out a muscle, but if one is already knotted and you stretch it, it's going to knot again. It's just going to keep knotting, and so it's hard to get it to loosen up. If you actively roll it out like I'm doing here, it's like, you know, having shoulder pain. All of y'all have sat here and gone, man, my neck really hurts, and you just push on it and just kind of hold it, and it kind of just starts to relax. That's the philosophy behind a roller. And so, you know, I systematically go through a series of rolling in which, you know, I work on my hip flexors, I work on my quads, I work on my gluteals, my IT band, my hamstrings. So we're going to kind of go through some of these pictures. And I just kind of systematically do it. The most important ones that it really works on, this one is I get a lot of, with running 100 miles, your sartorius crosses your hip joint and your knee joint, and mine tends to get irritated as it crosses the knee joint. It has to do with my anatomy. And so once I started doing this, in which I'm laying there with it crossed directly over, pushing essentially right there, it lets that muscle relax, and it got rid of my knee pain, whereas before I would just, you know, cringe, but there wasn't anything wrong with me. I knew there wasn't anything wrong with me. It just hurt. This is a couple ways to really, you know, stretch. This is IT band here. I tend to not really roll my IT band more than sit there and hold it. I hold it up at the two places that it tends to get irritated. One is up more proximal, or up by, you know, your greater tuberosity, where you're a little bit more bony prominent, and the other is down by the knee. This hurts. Okay, nobody likes to do this. If it hurts, then you're tight, and it needs to be rolled, and needs to be rolled, and it needs to be rolled. Otherwise, you're going to get IT band problems, and that can stop anybody from running. Okay. I throw this in sometimes. I'm rolling my IT band, but I'm also stretching out my hip abductor muscles, which is the second area. Hip abductor weakness is the #1 cause of IT band problems. Okay. Hip abductor weakness. So the hip abductors are the muscles that hold up your pelvis. Okay. So if they're weak, then you have a tendency to sway like this. Okay. So you can imagine running, doing that. I'm kind of over-exaggerating it, but it then, as it shifts, it puts pressure in that band that goes from here all the way down, gets irritated as it rubs over bones. And so Morgan's going to show some hip abduction strengthening exercises. I have my Rice girls and guys, distance runners, all doing, you know, strengthening exercises. I do them on a regular basis. You can do them on a weight machine. You can do them without weights. You can do them with bands. There's several ways to do it. We're going to kind of touch on that here in a little while. So I'm actually stretching mine here and working on my IT band at the same time. So this is that multitasking that we talked about. I'm a multitasker. Okay. The other personal favorite that we all so dearly love, the stick. Okay. It's another form of torture. Same principle. It's really hard to use a foam roller on the lower leg. So I have 3 versions of the stick. I have one that's like this long, I have one that's like this long, and this is my travel stick, which is about that long. It's the meanest because it's stiffer, okay? And then this goes back to your question about Achilles tendonitis and a tight calf muscle. If you get one of these and you really work on this part of the calf, the medial gastroc, which is really deep, it's hard to stretch out, but it's almost always knotted. And so this is me. You can't really see it very well here. I actually have this pried against the chair, and I'm levering it and really just cranking to get that deep gastroc. Okay. It doesn't feel so good, but it keeps me injury free. Okay. So these are my 2 purchases. This costs about $25 or $30. Actually, you can buy a whole set of them. They come as a multi-package. And then the foam roller. If you actually do them on a regular basis, you know, while watching television, you know, reading a book or whatever, then it really significantly helps improve injuries, prevent injuries. The other is listening to your body. You know, about, I don't know, 4 or 5 months ago, I had this, you know, training run I was supposed to go do, and I went out, and I usually make it about, you know, 1/4 of a block to the light pole, and then I'm like, got to stop and stretch, and so, I kind of stretch out a little bit, and I took about another 5 more steps, and I thought I was going to die. And I was like, nope. My body said no. Even though my training schedule said I was supposed to, my body said it's not happening today. So I ran around the block, literally, and I came back home, and I stretched. And I spent a good 30 or 45 minutes really just stretching and working with the stick and the roller. And I gave up that run, and I said, you know what? I'll just get up tomorrow morning and I'll go do that run. Alarm clock went off, and I was just dragging. My body was like, it's not happening. I reset the alarm clock. I stayed in bed. So I listened to my body. My body said, it's not happening for you today, okay? And it's usually that obvious. I mean, my buddy and I talk about who's going to be whose monkey on each other's back that day. It's usually pretty obvious when you're going to have a good day, when you're going to have a bad day. If you feel like you're going to just keel over and die and you just can't take another step, probably shouldn't do it. If something hurts, don't push through it. Pain is our friend, okay? Pain is not weakness leaving the body. Pain is our friend. Pain is telling you there is something wrong, okay? Whether it is, you're coming down with a cold, whether it's you're just, overtrained, whether you didn't sleep the night before. I mean, those are all things that if you go out and push your body through it, you're going to hurt yourself. There's always tomorrow, okay? We're not getting paid to do this. We're doing this for fun. If it no longer is fun, if you feel like you are torturing yourself, you need a day off. And that's when you go hang out with your friends, you hang out with your family, you do something to relieve your stress in some other way other than training. And so figure out why. One point I want to talk about, figure out why you don't feel like doing it. The most common reason is you just didn't sleep well. You had a hard day at work. You ran too much the week before. Something like that. You had a big presentation to do at work, and you just, you're stressed out. I mean, those are the most common reasons, but then you got to think about medical reasons. And it turns out I ran a 60K in July. I say I ran it. I got about 3 or 4 miles into it, and I asked myself, why am I doing this? I am absolutely miserable. Why am I out here? And I told myself, it's only 37 miles. I'm training for a 100-miler. That was my training run. And I bailed out about mile 18. It was the most miserable 18 miles of my life. And I came home, and my mom works for the doctor that kind of takes care of me. She runs a lab, and so I said, I need my iron checked. And turns out I was iron deficient. And iron deficiency is probably one thing we don't talk about enough. Probably every woman that does any significant amount of training or running over 30 or 40 miles should be on a significant amount of iron. At least, one, not a multivitamin, but an iron tablet a day, if not 2, because women especially are predisposed to iron deficiency. I knew the signs. I had been iron deficient when I was in college, and I was very iron deficient. And so that's me listening to my body, and I got on iron, and within 2 weeks, I turned around, and I didn't have another bad run. But if I kept at that pace, I'd have had a stress fracture, or I'd have had some major injury. And so it's really important to listen to our bodies. And we get so dead set on having to do it. We think we have to do it. I have this race. I have this. I have this. I have this. You know what? We're only human. We don't get paid to do this. We do it because we like to. And that's the important part, is have fun. If you're not having fun, figure out why or change sports. Okay?